There's this thing that happens when you're running a service based business and someone reaches out wanting to hire you. You get excited. I mean, we all get excited and you want to say yes. And the reality is sometimes you need to say yes because the bills are real. The responsibilities of life are real. And the pipeline might not be as full at the moment as you would like. But here's something that I've noticed over the years that honestly took me a long time to admit to myself. Some of the clients I said yes to, the ones I wasn't too sure about, the ones where something felt a little off, those clients didn't just cause headaches. They actually cost me more than I made from them. And I don't just mean money, I mean time, I mean energy, opportunities I didn't even realize I was missing out on. So, in this video, I want to talk about the real cost of taking on the wrong clients because I don't think most of us are doing the math honestly because excitement can cloud our judgment. Here's a situation a lot of us are in. You're trying to grow, you're trying to stay busy, and when someone reaches out, even if something feels a little bit off, you start talking yourself into it. Maybe they're pushing back on your price, but you think, I can make it work. I'll work on my price too. Maybe they seem a little disorganized, but you think, I've dealt with worse. Maybe they're already asking a ton of questions. To be honest, this is my first red flag before you've even started, but you think they're just detail oriented. That's fine. So you say yes, you take on the project, and then it all begins. The back and forth, the scope creep, the late replies that somehow turned into urgent demands, the revisions that just keep coming, and that feeling, that low level dread when you see their name pop up in your inbox. Ugh, is the only way I can describe it. And then when you finally close that project out, you're not proud of what you made. You're not energized. You're just relieved that it's over. That feeling that you're getting, it's worth paying attention to. Now, here's where I want to slow down a little bit because I think the mistake most of us make is we only look at what a client pays us, not what they actually cost us. The first cost is time. And honestly, it's almost always more than what you budget for. I know time is what we talk about the most, but you don't realize that they really do just eat up so much when it comes to the constant hand holding, the endless emails, the simple decisions that they could make that then take 3 calls. Uh, it is so much more than time, even. It becomes emotional health, mental health. And that's so important to be aware of. The second cost, though, really is energy. And this one can be quite sneaky. The reality is, you've got a finite amount of mental and creative energy every day. And when someone is draining that through stress, through frustration, through just this constant low level anxiety you might have, you don't have that same energy available for your other clients that really need it and deserve it, or for your business, and honestly, for yourself, for your life outside of work, because it matters more than anything. I've had projects where one difficult client cast a shadow over everything else I was working on and created so much stress that I just didn't even want to work. Not because they were the biggest project, just because they were taking up so much mental space of having to deal with them is such a negative connotation. I don't mean to be that way, but sometimes things are just hard. And the third cost, this is the one that surprised me most when I really started to think about this. It's referrals. Your best clients don't just pay you, they talk about you. They send people your way. They become advocates of what you do. But the clients that are tough, nothing ever goes smooth. And by the end of it, they're not shouting the praises of your business. They might be happy with the end product for themselves, but they're not going to go out there and refer you to others. So the real issue here is opportunity cost. Every hour you spend managing a difficult client is an hour you're not spending on someone who actually values the work that you do. Every bit of energy that a tough client or project takes from you is then energy that you could have given to something that you're more genuinely proud of, something that gets you noticed, something that takes you further in your business and leads to the right people finding you. I'll be honest, it took me a long time to actually connect these dots, and I don't always get it right. For years, I just thought that difficult clients were part of the deal. You take the good with the bad and it balances out, right? That's just how it goes. But I started noticing a pattern. The clients who were the hardest to work with were almost always the hardest to get started with, too. The signs were really early on, oftentimes before they even signed a contract. Maybe they push back on the price, like I said, or maybe they're slow to respond, or again, it could be the endless amount of questions or revisions to the contract, whatever it may be. Maybe they have a lot of strong opinions and are already giving you a ton of advice on how to do your job. I've seen it all. I would sometimes just justify it by telling myself that I'm being too picky. And I would talk myself into it, that who am I to be selective of who I'm taking on? But then I would spend the next months, in a lot of cases, dealing with that decision. When I started actually thinking about what those projects cost me, not just in hours, but in energy and in stress, the attention I didn't give to other things, I realized I've been doing the math wrong the whole time. The revenue looked fine on paper, but the real return on those projects were a lot lower than I'd been telling myself. Here's the thing that honestly changed how I think about all of this. Every time you say yes to the wrong client, you're not just taking a difficult project, you're also saying no to something else, even if that something else isn't visible yet. You never know what could be around the corner. I mean, that is the fun part of being a business owner. In 5 minutes, you could get an email that changes your life. In reality, that is the drug of owning a business, in my opinion. And so you're saying no to the wrong clients in order to have bandwidth to go after a better opportunity. You're saying no to showing up fully for a client who would have loved working with you and told everyone about you. You're saying no to the version of your business where you're doing work you're actually proud of for people who genuinely value it. I'm not saying be so selective that you never take a risk on someone new. That's not realistic, especially when you're still building. And I get that. And honestly, sometimes you're not going to see the red flags, or again, sometimes you need the money on the counter. Like you need to be able to feed your family or whatever it may be. So I'm not saying be crazy picky. And I'm not saying like say no to everyone, right? But I'm just saying do the math with all the things that I've talked about. Not just how much does this project pay, but what is the project actually going to cost me? And it's way more than money, like we've said. And when those early signals are showing up, take them seriously. Your instincts are usually right. The question is whether you're willing to listen to them. So here's what I want you to walk away with. The goal isn't a full roster of clients. The goal is a roster of the right clients, people who value your work, who communicate well, who make the whole thing feel worth it. Those are the things that are going to give you life and make you so excited to continue working and building. Because when you're working with the right people, everything changes, right? The work is better, your energy is higher. Those clients send you more clients, just like them. It compounds in the best way, but it starts with people being honest about what the wrong clients are actually costing you, not just in dollars, but in everything else. So start paying attention to those early signs, and it's okay to map out exactly who you want to work with. Map out those ideal clients and trust your gut, because a lot of times you're right, even though it may be scary. And above all, remember, friends, that business is a fun journey. So enjoy it. I'll see you in the next one.